Hey guys, welcome back. In the last session, we have worked on the beneficiary service. So we have added the beneficiary details to the NSK bank. Now, in this session, what I'll do is I'll be working on the transaction service. As part of the transaction service, I'll be creating a POJO, or we can say a domain object, or we can say entity object. I'll be creating an entity class. Right click on the domain, go to the Java class and create the transaction. Create the transaction. So transaction class is got created. This transaction class would be having the properties like transaction ID, transaction ID, and it will be having the sender account number, long, sender account number, sender account number, long, receiver account number, or you can say beneficiary account number as well. Let me add beneficiary instead of receiver. I'll be giving beneficiary account number. Okay, bear with my spellings. Okay, and then we will be giving the status. We will be checking the status of the transaction. So I'll be giving it as a status as a string. So status. Okay, so these are the some of the properties which I have given for the transaction. The transaction would be having the transaction ID, sender account number, and beneficiary account number, and the status, whether the transaction is successful or it is a failed. And at the last, we will be adding the amount. What amount you are transferring from sender account to the beneficiary account number. For this, I'll be taking as a double as the data type. I'll be adding as the amount as the one more property for this transaction. Okay, so what we have done, so we have created a Java class called transaction. We have added the properties called transaction ID, sender account number, beneficiary account number, amount, and the status. All these details we have added. So at the top of this transaction, I want to store all the transaction details into my database, into my database, or we can say that into the NSK banking application. So if the user tomorrow, if the user wants to check whether all the transactions which I have done, so he can directly go to the NSK bank. He can see the transactions which he has performed on daily basis. Okay, so now in order to store the transaction details, I'll be using the entity. I'll be persisting the transaction details. Okay, so and if you are persisting the transaction object, then you will be providing the primary key for the transaction. So primary key, I'll be automatically generating the primary key. For that, I'll be using the generated value, and the strategy which I'm going to use is identity is the strategy which I'm going to use. It's strategy, sorry, generated value, generation type dot, I'll be using identity. Here I'll be saying strategy equals to strategy equals to generation type dot identity. Okay, here I'll be giving the private as the modifiers for all these things. Let me copy this one. I'm a bit lazy actually in writing it. So let me copy all these things and just paste it. Okay, so paste it. Sorry. Here we have paste it and on paste it. That's fine. So now we need to generate the setters and getters for this for this properties as well. So I'll be using Lombok, right? So for that, so I'll be using as I'm using the Lombok, I'll be using the Lombok annotations for setting the for setters. I'll be using setter. For getters, I'll be using getter. And if you want to generate the all our constructor, I'll be using the all our constructor annotation. If I want to generate the no argument constructor, I'll be using no argument constructor as well. Okay, so in this session, what we have done, we have created the transaction class, and we have added some of the properties of the transaction. If you want to process the transaction, we are adding the Jakarta, Jakarta libraries. We are adding Jakarta annotations. We are adding it. Okay, once we did it, like once we added the Zakarta entity annotation of Zakarta, then we need to provide the ID, primary key for the transaction table actually. So I'll be giving the ID as I'll be giving the primary key as transaction ID, and the transaction ID would be automatically generated by using the identity generator. Okay, so I'll be stopping over here. In the next session, we will be discussing more on the transaction repository and the transaction services. Okay, so that's all. Thank you for watching.